Hey guys, I just wanted to, today I'm going to tell a short version of my testimony. And a few of my friends had asked me to tell a story, and actually they asked me to write a book, but I'm not so good at writing books, so I'm just going to tell it like this. I, um, I've made some decisions in my life that have made people wonder why in the world is she choosing this, and they've made rude comments, made all kinds of things, comments about my life and why I've chosen to be who I am and what I've chosen to do. When I was in 10th grade, I I talked to God a lot. I had a very strong prayer life, and one day I was in the cafeteria at school, and I remember looking around at my classmates and just thinking about all the things that they're going through. And I remember God telling me, look at all the relationships. Look around and look at all the relationships. And so I started thinking about all the relationships all my friends were having. And I thought, man, that really stinks, because what they're doing to themselves is painful. They get together with someone, then they break up. Then they get back together with that same person, they break up again. It's it's awful what they're doing to each other. Even the ones who aren't having sex, they're hurting themselves because of the emotions that they put into it. Especially the girls that I knew. They put so much love and so much effort, so much time into those guys who just end up leaving them or hurting them or cheating on them in the long run. Which some of my guys had to deal with that too. But anyway, I was thinking that just really stinks. And then God told me this right after he showed me that. He said, look at my face. And so what I did was I closed my eyes and I pictured his face. And I saw tears streaming down his face. That was probably one of the most impactful visions I've ever seen. Because imagining God crying is a big deal. I hate to see men cry, and to see God crying, that really touched me. I said, oh my God, I don't want to do that to you. What do you want me to do? He said, don't date. I said, how am I ever going to get married? Do you want me to just be friends with somebody and then just marry them? You know, I had a little sarcasm then. So God just said, trust me, you'll see. So I said, okay, I'll trust you. Sometimes whenever there was somebody to consider, like I thought, oh, you know what, maybe that person will be the right one for me. I thought, I might say yes to them if they asked to go out with me. And I decided that in my heart, that if they had asked me, that I would say yes. However, thankfully, those guys didn't. They may have showed interest, but as soon as I told them that I was interested in waiting and not dating, they left. They thought, she's not worth the time. So I figured, if they're not willing to wait on me, then they're not the right person for me. I've also had guys interested in me, and I was definitely not interested in them. So luckily I didn't have very many people that I was interested in and they were interested in me. There were a few, but once they found out that I was waiting and not dating, they kind of left. So it made things a little bit easier. In college, well, just before I started college, I heard of KJ52, a Christian rapper, and well, I'd heard of him a couple of years, but I heard one of his songs and it really touched me. And I normally didn't like rap. I really strongly disliked rap music. And he had one of his songs that really touched me and really made me cry. And I'm like, really? I didn't know that could happen with a rap song. So I went to his website and I started looking around on the information about this guy, and he had a forum post up there. And so I started looking at the comments people were making, and then I started looking at the prayer request forum. And I started reading the prayer requests. There were so many things that kids were going through, so many issues that were on there, and it was just one person's website, you know. And I was just praying over some of them, kind of quickly skimming over them. About like 8 pages back, one of them stuck out to me, and it was just about this guy who had a relationship with a girl for a long time, for 2 years, I think. Anyway, she had left him without an explanation, and he was heartbroken, and he was still dealing with that. I think it was a year after he had broken up with her, or 2 years after he had broken up with her at this time. And he was just dealing with a lot of the pain from it, and still heartbroken and still dealing with stuff. And so my heart just tugged towards him. And so I started to write him on the instant messaging, and I told him, hey, you know, I read your prayer request, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm praying for you, and I wanted to share with you about God's love. People are going to let you down all the time, but God's love is forever. God's love is patient, is kind, and I was sharing with him 1 Corinthians, and about love. And the funny thing is, he thought I was a man, like a 30-year-old man, because of my screen name. My screen name was Mess of His, which means messenger of God. And so I started talking to him. Once he found out that I was an 18-year-old girl, he was kind of interested in me. And so, and he let me know too. But anyway, we ended up exchanging phone numbers and writing to each other and stuff, which I do not recommend to anyone, to just meet someone and exchange phone numbers and everything, because that's just not safe. I never did it before, and I never did it after. Only to close friends and connections that my husband and I have now. And just a side note. So anyway, I was talking to him, and he told me he was interested in me. After I told him that I was waiting and I wasn't dating, I told him the next person, first person I say yes to is going to be my husband. I'm not going to say yes to anyone other than him. If I know that he's my husband, then that's when I'm going to say yes. And so he was very interested in me, but I wasn't really interested in him. I'd seen his pictures and everything. He was alright, and he was a really, really nice guy. He was my best friend. Like, better than the friends that were close by me. He was like a brother, close friend. He wouldn't let me call him brother, though. Like my big brother. He got mad when I said that. It was kind of funny. So anyway, that happened. And I'm going to try to keep the video short so I won't get into all the details. But there was another guy who liked me for a time. And I told him about it. And he kind of got jealous. He backed off for a little bit. But then he still remained my friend. But at the same time, I started saying I love you to him. He said, oh wait, what happened? Sorry, I'm pausing. He said I love you a lot too. And anyway, I felt really convicted about that after a while, about saying I love you. It was really, to me, it was just a friendship thing, and to him it meant more. So I really felt convicted about it, and I told him one day, I said, I can't say I love you to you anymore. I can't say I love you to another man until it's my husband. And, you know, of course, except for my brother and my dad and family and stuff like that. But I wanted to say I love you to my husband and no one else. And so anyway, basically over time, he said that actually right then he stopped talking to me because he thought that I wasn't interested in him at all. And so for a whole week we didn't talk to each other. And I ended up calling him on the phone and saying, hey, you have to talk to me, answer the phone. Because we were best friends and I couldn't lose that. So anyway, I was still saying no to him. But anyway, it ends up happening that the other guy that was interested in me just stopped talking to me. Like, he got mad over one thing and stopped talking to me. I had been praying. I said, God, I know I can't marry two people. So you're going to have to take one of them away. And so he did. The good thing is that I don't think we would have been compatible with each other after time I realized that. But anyway, I couldn't see it in the time because he was closer, he lived right near to me, and I could be around him, and he seemed like the best option. And this other guy was in New York, so I'm like, ah. So anyway, back to the original person. For about 10 months, he pursued after me, and I said no. And I'll give you some dates. In August of 2005, I had told him before, I said, you can come down anytime you want, come visit me in Texas. And sure enough, he decides to come down to Texas from New York. He only comes for 3 days. He flies in on a Tuesday, stays Wednesday, and leaves on Thursday. I told him this. I said, you have to bring a female with you because I don't want to feel uncomfortable with you visiting the first time. It'll be weird. And so he pulls a smart move. He brings his mother. So my family falls in love with him. My grandmother and his mother were like holding hands the day that they met. It was really weird to me because I'm not used to that, but it was really cute too because they were like two little schoolgirls holding hands like best friends. So anyway, what happened next? Yeah. So we were awkward at first. We had this joke. We used to argue whether the word P-E-C-A-N was pecan, which is the proper way, or pecan, like the New Yorkers say, those weirdos. And so he showed me a bag of pecans one day, and he's like, look, pecans, haha. Or no, he says pecans. He was trying to say it my way, but he couldn't. So anyway, and I said, haha, and then I walked away. So it was really awkward the first time, and by the end of Wednesday, though, we were like, oh my goodness, we haven't, like, talked like friends anymore. So what we did was the next day we talked, and we had lots of time, especially on the way to the airport. And really, whenever we said bye to each other, I thought it was going to be the last time. When we hugged, though, at the airport to leave, I'll just have to throw this in. This was like the little movie moment to me. We hugged, and like our arms slipped down like this, and then they touched like that. And then I felt something flutter in my heart. And I looked at him, and he looked at me at the same time, so I think he felt the same thing, and I didn't realize it, but I'm like, oh. And on the way to the airport, I remembered thinking, oh, you know what? He wouldn't be that bad to spend the rest of my life next to. So I've got a minute left. So the first, as I was leaving the airport, I was thinking, oh no, this is the last time I'm going to see him. And what happened is that we, whenever he got home, we started talking on the phone again. I said, let's take a 2-week fast from one another. So what we did was we took 2 weeks from each other. Time to, if we talked on the phone, we could pray, and we could read the word, but that was it. We didn't talk about our day. We didn't just chat about different things. And by the end, I thought, it's going to be hard on him and easy on me because we're just friends. We're not going to be anything more than friends. I told him that before he came down. And so anyway, he by the end of the 2 weeks, I was missing him badly, missing his friendship, missing that conversation like we used to have. And September 1st of 2005, I said, Jason, I know you have something that you want to say to me. He said, no, I don't want to say it. I said, I'll say it back. And so he said, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And that was me saying yes to him. That was our unofficial engagement. And so a year and a half later is when we officially got engaged. But I went to visit him and he visited me. And so the rest is history. We're married. It'll be 4 years this Thursday. Yay! And I'm so happy to have you, Jason. I love you so much. You're the most wonderful husband ever in the world. Thank you, guys.